What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me today for our 2025 Texas Rangers preview, kind of doing a tour of the West divisions now, is, of course, Luis Barranco. Luis, how's it going?
We're here in Texas because everything's here bigger in Texas.
We are in Texas, 2023 World Series champions. Had a disappointing year last year, 78 and 84. Dealt with a lot of injuries, a lot of guys that didn't maybe produce to the highest of their abilities, to the highs that they did in 2024. But they had a decent offseason. They brought in Jock Pederson, which I think was a huge acquisition to kind of fill a role that's been weak for them at the DH position. They brought in first baseman Jake Berger via trade with the Marlins. They brought back Nathan Eovaldi. They did lose Andrew Heaney, Kirby Yates. David Robertson remains unsigned as of we're recording this on March 9th. Carson Kelly is gone. Jose Leclerc is gone. Max Scherzer gone. Andrew Chafin gone. Jose Urena gone. And Travis Jankowski is also gone. They also signed Kevin Pillar in free agency from the Angels. And then really we're extremely active with the bullpen, brought in a bunch of guys that Luis will go through when he runs through the roster here. But overall, pretty busy offseason.
Yeah. Talk about a team that I am scared of if I am an AL squad. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager lead off. Hopefully they bounce back and are in that form that they are. Very scary players to lead off with. And one of Williams' favorites, Wyatt Langford. He rips the cover off of baseball, been playing really well in spring training. Got to see a little of him in clips. Jock Pederson, they acquired the DH, lefty bat with Adolis García. Josh Jung at third base, Evan Carter at center. They acquired Jake Berger from the Marlins, who will be playing first base after they traded Nathaniel Lowe to the Nationals. And then they got Jonah Heim catching. The bench is loaded. Ex-Yankee Kyle Higashioka and Josh Smith, two very good players there with Kevin Pillar, as William said, and Leody Taveras also there as a backup outfielder. Rotation-wise, it goes from Eovaldi to John Gray, Tyler Mahle, who's finally healthy, Cody Bradford, and then Jacob deGrom, who has said he will not be pitching for Velo this year. Very interesting. Bullpen, they pretty much revamped the whole bullpen with Chris Martin, got Robert Garcia back from the Nathan Lowe trade, Sean Armstrong, Hobie Milner, Luke Jackson, and then they have Dane Dunning and Mark Church. They have some interesting non-roster invites. Tucker Barnhart is a non-roster invite, ex-Gold Glover for the Cincinnati Reds. They also have Ezekiel Duran as well in the minor leagues. Nick Ahmed, who's also a decent infielder. Adrian Hauser, also as a non-roster invitee. Jesse Chavez, who will probably end up at the Braves at some point. Matt Fiesta, Joe Barlow, Cody Hewer, and JT Chargois. Just very interesting team with a very deep farm system. Like I said, last year was a very tough year. A lot of the guys were injured, and they had issues hitting. William, on a level of 8 to 10, how scared are you of this team?
8 to 10, not 1 through 10?
No, it's 8 to 10. We're just making it simple.
Yeah, I would say probably an 8. The lineup is what scares you from this team. I think there's more question marks with the rotation. But if you want to start just specifically with the lineup, you're going to need a bounce back season for Marcus Semien, trying to get back to that 2023 form where he finished third in MVP voting in the American League. Obviously, they went on to win the World Series that year. You need that production from him. You also need Corey Seager to have a bounce back year. He only played 123 games last season. He was an all-star. He's one of the best shortstops in all of baseball when he's fully healthy. World Series MVP on 2 different teams, Dodgers and Rangers, one of few people to ever do that in Major League history. He needs to get back to, playing 150-something games, staying fully healthy. Feels like he's been in the league for a long time. He's only 31 years old. I still think he's fully in his prime. You got Wyatt Langford, who was one of the top prospects in all of baseball a couple of years ago coming out of the University of Florida. He's dealt with an oblique thing, just debuted in spring training. the other day. I think actually yesterday, Saturday, March 8th. So he's, rehabbing that. Hopefully he's fully ready to go for opening day. Adolis García, same thing. He's dealing with an oblique injury. He needs to get back to his form. He was really bad last season. He needs a bounce back season. He is 32 years old. Then you need guys like Josh Young, Evan Carter, to have big seasons. Again, two pretty young guys there. Jake Berger was a beast for the Marlins last year. Now he's got some real protection in this lineup. I think that's a huge power bat. I think the biggest acquisition for this team, though, was Jock Pederson. DH is a position that they've really struggled with, even when they won the World Series. So getting him is huge. Lineup is terrifying. It can be the best lineup if fully healthy, if firing in the American League. And I also love the addition of Kyle Higashioka as a catcher, a backup catcher to kind of platoon with Jonah Heim, a guy that struggled last year, was great in 2023. Maybe a little bit too much of a workload on Heim, a younger player. He's almost 30. Higashioka is a great backup catcher to have, arguably the best backup catcher in all of baseball. The rotation is where I have the question marks. You got Nathan Eovaldi, who's great when he's healthy, but he's a 2 Tommy John surgery guy. You got Jacob deGrom, was the best pitcher in baseball when he's fully healthy, but he really just hasn't been fully healthy his entire career. He's another two-time Tommy John surgery guy. Major question marks there. Can John Gray get back to form? Tyler Mahle, the rotation's kind of league average, if we're being honest. They don't really have an ace. deGrom can be that, but it really doesn't seem like he's going to be that guy at this point in his career. So I'm really curious to watch the rotation and then this entirely new look bullpen, which, they had a really weak bullpen in 2023 when they went on and won the World Series. It wasn't great last year. They finished 26th in reliever ERA. So that's actually really bad. New look, totally new look this year. We'll see what that does. This lineup is great. The pitching staff as a whole is really where I have a lot of question marks. And deGrom, he's owed $37 million on average for the next 3 seasons. That's a huge contract. And for the production he's received, or the Rangers have received for the money they've paid, it's got to go down as one of the worst contracts in the sport right now. I hope for his sake that he can rectify that and have a bounce back season, because, we've kind of longed for seeing Jacob deGrom pitch in big moments in his career. He was with the Mets when they made the World Series in 2015, but since then it really hasn't been much. But I'm very fascinated by this team because I can see this going a whole bunch of different ways, if we're being honest. But I'm curious your thoughts.
No, I think this lineup's going to be headlined by their lineup, as you said. And I just also think the pitching isn't that bad. I mean, yes, there are question marks coming back from injury, as we spoke about with the Dodgers in the last couple of days. But I do feel like this executive team and front office isn't scared to make a move. So I hold true that the lineup will hold them afloat, and they'll get to the deadline and they'll be able to acquire one of the many pitchers that could be a Sandy Alcantara, a Dylan Cease, a Michael King, if one of those 3 are to come available. So I'm not too worried. I think Cody Bradford's a sleeper on this team. I think he'll be a very, very good pitcher this year. Last year he pitched and he was at a 3.54 ERA. He pitched 76 innings. So with the full workload, I think he'll be very good. And then Nathan Eovaldi, you know what you're getting in him. John Gray, again, know what you're getting in him. You may need that one extra pitcher in there. So that's why I can see them acquiring one. But hey, their lineup is murderer's row. I think Jake Berger is a sleeper. And between Langford, Seager, and Semien, that's probably the best starting 3 in the American League. I don't think there is a team in the American League that has a better front 3.
Yeah, if they're all healthy, playing well, I would agree. Nothing the Yankees can produce is better. Red Sox, no. Astros, no. And certainly Mariners, no. Nothing like that. You also
maybe Baltimore could, but I still tend to take a Corey Seager and a Marcus Semien than what could be Gunnar Henderson. I can't think of the front 3 because I know Jorge Mateo, they switch them around a lot. So
it'd be like Henderson. You could throw Jackson Holiday up there if he's healthy. But you got right now it's Gunnar, Adley, and Cedric Mullins is what they got on Fangraphs. We'll obviously get to that preview in a bit. You also, with Texas, they do have Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter as rotation depth pieces that might not make the opening day roster, probably won't make the opening day roster. but they'll be in the minor leagues waiting their turn. Leiter got up last year, wasn't great, but again, it was his rookie season, so I think he still has rookie eligibility status. And then, of course, Kumar Rocker, who I believe was also up last season, had an interesting career, dealt with a lot of injuries. But those are, two Vandy guys, so I'm in on them. That could play a role in this.
Did you see Leiter in spring training?
I did not.
He introduced the kick change at the end of 2024, and he worked on the kick change in the offseason, and now he's dealing with a two-seamer.
Okay. So he's making changes.
It's silly season. We see a lot of like we said, we see a lot of pitchers debut new pitches, just spring tinker and throw stuff around. So they're interesting. And I mean, like I said, if there's a team that isn't there's 2 or 3 front offices that you can think of that aren't scared of making moves, and that's the Dodgers and the Rangers are the first 2 that come to mind.
Yeah, so they have a fun opening series. In Texas, they're hosting Boston for 4.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's like 2 teams that weren't great last year, but a lot of preseason hype on both of those teams.
Crochet probably opens up for Boston. Is deGrom opening up, or he's not ready to open?
I don't think it's been announced yet. Could be wrong, but I think if I had to pick, it would probably be Eovaldi, which Eovaldi has 13 years of major league service time. That is crazy. I remember him, obviously, when he was on the Yankees for a little bit there, and then the Red Sox, and then the Rangers. Man, I didn't realize it's been 13 years, though, already.
He was also in Tampa. I remember him from Tampa, I believe.
Yep, Tampa.
He's pretty
I think
much
that's where he started his career. He kind of a journeyman, but he's
whoa.
What?
That's crazy. Guess where he started his career?
Miami. I remember he was on Miami. Was it Miami?
No, he was on a team before Miami.
I have no idea.
Okay, so he started with the Dodgers. He was drafted in the 11th round, and he had TJ, and they gave him $250K to not go to A&M. He's a Texas guy. He went to the Dodgers. He got traded to the Marlins for Hanley Ramirez. And then the Marlins traded Eovaldi, Gary Jones, and Domingo Germán to the Yankees for Martin Prado and David Phelps. And he got Tommy John with the Yankees. And then he went to the Rays. And then the Rays traded him to Boston for Jalen Beeks. He was in Boston from 2018 to 2023. And he's in Boston. He's in Texas now.
Yeah, 2-time World Series winner, 2018 and 2023.
Yeah, so
he's been. I honestly didn't realize he's been around for that long. His career's kind of flown by.
He's been everywhere. But I mean, talk about a team with a lot of. They're going to be players. Like they don't have that much money tied up. I mean, so that's why I could see them make a big move or something like that, because they got Jock Pederson on $18.5 million. Wow. John Gray and Tyler Mahle on their last year should open up $29.5 million between both of those two. And then all these relievers they sign are on 1-year contracts. But this team's just scary because this lineup could be the best in baseball if they're all firing. Talk about they're in the realm of the Dodgers, Braves, Phillies, lineups that if you don't pitch your good stuff, you are in trouble because they will eat you up. They did lose Max Scherzer, but I mean, they had like you said, they have the pitching depth to do it. And I just think this lineup is going to get way better next year. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Fangraphs has them projected. Right now, they're at $235 million in payroll, and that's going to drop off almost $100 million to $148 million next year. And like you said, they're a front office that's willing to make moves. They're willing to spend money. They did it this offseason. It might not have been the biggest acquisitions that you would have thought, but Jock Pederson was a great acquisition via free agency. And then the trade for Berger was great. Berger's got 3 more years of control until he's a free agent after this season. So they got him up long-term. and they're going to have money this offseason to spend. I think they could be really good this year, and then they have the potential to be good for a long time. It's really just a matter of Seager and Semien staying healthy, because Semien is getting up there a little bit. He's 30, almost 35. Seager's 31. He's just got to stay healthy. And then deGrom, they do owe him a lot of money, which is the only really bad deal that I don't like on this team. But otherwise, they're set, man. I think they're gonna be good for a while.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm very high on this team. DraftKings has them at 85.5. Last season, everything went wrong that could possibly go wrong, and they went 78 and 84. They are managed in the AL West. So I was going to say Central for some reason, but they are managed by one of my favorite managers in Bruce Bochy, one of the best in the game. So they're bound to win a lot of games with a guy like that. So ceiling, World Series contender. Worst case, wild card. I think they can win division easily in the West, compete for a World Series. William, what is your thoughts on the floor and the ceiling? And are you taking the over or the under?
Yeah, I think the floor and the ceiling is accurate. I think maybe the worst they could do is third in the division again and around 500. You said the total is 85.5. I'm going to take the over. This is my division champion. Spoiler alert, but I think they do get it this year. They're going to be a contender. You know, I think they have enough hitting, and I think some of these guys are going to have bounce back years. They have enough hitting to where it can sustain maybe a questionable starting rotation and bullpen until those guys in the pen kind of establish their roles, and maybe they make a trade, or one of Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter come up to add some depth and maybe some high leverage quality arms to the top of that rotation. And like you said, they have the farm system to go out and make a trade. Sebastian Walcott, one of the top prospects in the sport. So I'm very bullish on this Rangers team this year. I feel better about the Rangers than I do the Red Sox, just because I think the Rangers lineup is a lot better than the Red Sox lineup. I think the Red Sox have a better starting rotation. But I think the lineup over the course of 162 games is going to play more than the Red Sox rotation, if that makes sense. So give me the over. I'm in on the Rangers. They're my division champion this year in the American League West.
And I'm taking the same as well. I think they're the over. I think they're probably, as of March 9th, in my opinion, the favorite to make it out of the AL.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, the AL is, with all these Yankee injury news, it's interesting this year.
The AL, there's only like 3 or 4 teams that can make it out the AL. And that it could be Texas, Seattle. Seattle, they have injury concerns now in the rotation. They can't hit. The Yankees, who knows who's going to be starting on that team at the pace with the injuries right now. And Baltimore is still there, but we'll talk about Baltimore later in a future pod.
And I think Boston could get out of it too if everything went right.
Yeah, but I think Texas is probably your safest bet to make it out.
Yeah, I think right now that's probably right. Okay, so we're both over. We're in on the Rangers. Anything else before we get out?
We're going to Arizona tomorrow, and we're going to talk about some Diamondbacks team I'm personally high on.
I'm excited to talk D-backs because I think they're going to be good. They had a very active offseason as well. 2 teams that played in the World Series a couple years ago.
Exactly.
All right. Until tomorrow, until we talk about the Diamondbacks, we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.